The ABC Murders is a thrilling crime fiction novel written by Agatha Christie and based around the iconic detective of Hercule Poirot. There has been a series of murders in England. A man by the name of Alexander Bonaparte Cust is arrested for being in the towns at the time of the murders. In an interrogation, Poirot finds that Alexander Bonaparte Cust was hired to be in the towns to sell stockings. His employer was Franklin Clark, the brother of one of the victims of the murders. Poirot deduces that Franklin Clark is the murderer, stopping him from going on a nationwide killing spree. Theme: prejudice is a big theme in the story because it is prevalent from beginning, middle, and end. Prejudice is defined as a preconceived opinion that is not based on reason or actual experience. The main example of prejudice in the story occurred during the search for the murderer. Alexander Bonaparte Cust was described by Poirot imitating the police. He is the killer. He remembers his headaches, his lapses of memories. He is quite sure of the truth. He, Alexander Bonaparte Cust, is a homicidal lunatic. And finally, another quote is, Mr. Cust truly believes that he did the murders. The reason he believes he did the murders is because of how vulnerable he is because of his mental issues, and as a result believes that he is guilty. Agatha wrote Alexander Bonaparte Cust as a villain in the beginning, but in the end shows that he is a good man, but that he faced prejudice because of his mental health issues. Christie tells us that we must look beyond the prejudice, especially for those who are suffering from mental health issues, and help them out, because they are human just like everyone else. The theme, little details, is especially prevalent in the middle of the story. Small details result in solving the crime. Someone recognizing Franklin Clark. Poirot announces to Clark, "You were identified at Bexhill the other day by Millie Higley." Remembering that a man stole stockings helped them track Alexander Bonaparte Cust. I tell you, my friends, it cannot be a coincidence. 3 crimes, and every time a man selling stockings and spies out the land. A mere statement from Poirot about fingerprints causes Clark to admit his murders. You left a fingerprint on Cust's typewriter. The typewriter that, if you were innocent, you could have never handled. Agatha states that we have to look at the small things because they compound to large things. The title could be symbolic and interpreted as the alphabet. We must understand the ABCs in order to understand bigger things, like books. It is symbolic of Poirot needing to understand the basic facts of the murders in order to understand the more complicated matter of who the murderer is. Justice is the prevalent theme in the beginning of the story especially. Hercule takes the case even though he is in retirement and strives to find justice and truth because it is the right thing to do. His quote is, "Each time I say this is the end, but no, something else arises, and I will admit, my friend, the retirement for I care it not at all." When Poirot seems to dismiss the crime for his ego, his friend remarks, "My friend, accustomed to an unbroken line of successes, was sensitive to his failures so much so that he could not even endure the discussion of the subject." But Poirot eventually changes his mind and solves the crime, because it is the right thing to do for justice. Agatha tells us that we should strive to do what is right in order to help others. My review of ABC Murders is a 5 out of 5. It is a fun read because of how simple yet effective the plot is. The parts in the story where Poirot thinks about the psychology behind the murder and who could have done it are extremely enjoyable. The foreshadowing is great because it creates compellingness and creates suspense. The ending is satisfying because the reveal of the murder is surprising given the details prior, but it still makes sense. Have you read ABC Murders? If you have, definitely let me know what you think about it. The ABC Murders is definitely worth reading.